So welcome to the course, the session tour for session 6. We have a pretty typical week, I like previous weeks. You definitely will start out with the discussion board and a summary of chapter from the Better Together book. So definitely read the summary and answer the prompts from your classmate or classmates. We have a little grounding exercise here this week, the good issue, bad issue. So really, again, it's sort of a little bit of a thinking about something in your past that you've had experience with that was like a good issue that inspired you to act, and sort of what kind of promoted your action. Or you could actually think of a thing an issue that was um, uh, an issue that didn't motivate you to act, and then why didn't you act? So sort of this idea of thinking about what prompts action and what prompts you to move or motivates you to move. Again, we have a chapter for readings and other content this week. We have a chapter from the Better Together book, um, some readings from the community toolbox, especially around sort of analyzing community problems and solutions, which sort of jives with your community issue brief. And then a little bit of a video here that talks about needs assessment. So this is really thinking about how do you look at community issues and determine what is needed to be done or what needs to happen. And then as always, we have a key insight and then reflections for this week. So it's a pretty typical week. Um, there will be due at the end of the week the written portion of your community issue brief. So I had a couple of people ask about the community issue brief project and what is required. So evidently this past week, or clearly this past week, the first step was to provide an AV presentation of your community issue brief using VoiceThread. Again, this is just a fairly informal presentation. If we were in a class, meeting space, I would have each person, we'd go around and ask each person to give us an update on what they were working on in terms of their community issue brief, so we kind of had an understanding of what was being worked on. So that was what was due for the last week. This week is the actual written brief component. There are on the community issue brief written assignment element in the major projects folder. There are examples of community issue briefs that you can look at, or you could look for some others yourself, just to give you an idea of how to format these and how to kind of lay them out, and the various components that exist. So definitely look at those examples, but this is the written component. And then next week there'll be a sort of small group conversation component where you'll try to meet with some of your classmates, look at each other's AV presentations, and then kind of have a little bit of a discussion in however format works for the group, about sort of what was good about each presentation, what needed to be developed, and kind of get a sense of connecting with others around the project. Since we aren't meeting on a regular basis, I think it's helpful a couple of times during the semester that you actually try to meet or engage with some of your own classmates. Again, it doesn't have to be actually a physical meeting. It could be set up as a phone conversation. It could be a chat session. You could do it asynchronously through email or discussion board, or whatever works for the group. That's the thing. Again, link to the major projects folder and course feedback. So again, pretty typical layout for the week. After the community issue brief project is completed, we'll move into the next major project, which is writing an op-ed, so that you might want to kind of look ahead there in the major projects and get a sense of that. I just sent an email regarding spring break. Unfortunately, the way online classes work, one, we start a week later than other on-campus courses, and we also end a bit earlier. So we lose some time as a result of that. There is a spring break listed in the online course academic calendar, but it is for the Thursday and Friday of what the on-campus week is. So if you noted in the syllabus, there really was no spring break noted. There is no, the material still is due each week. So if you were planning to go away for spring break, just take that into consideration with the syllabus and what is required and what is due. I wish the campus would sort of sync up the two calendars so that everybody was sort of in the same boat. But unfortunately, that's not the way the online courses are currently operating, and we can't really afford to take a week without any work, given that we already have a truncated schedule. Uh, but hopefully that it didn't cause too many problems for people. Uh, Other than that, I think things are moving along for folks. Definitely, if you're finding yourself needing to submit late work, just definitely take a look at the grading and evaluation components. You can submit a late token with any assignment. Just when you submit the assignment, just say you're using one of your late tokens. You do have only 5, however, so use them judiciously. Um, Other than that, I think we're doing fine. Let me know if you're encountering any issues or problems or things aren't working, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. So enjoy the week.